Ishmael, the rejected son whose incredible prayer was heard in the wilderness by a merciful God. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, in the land of Canaan, the sun blazed mercilessly upon the tents of Abraham. In this parched land, a child named Ishmael emerged from the shadows of abandonment, born of Hagar, an Egyptian bondwoman. His very existence carried the weight of doubt, a living testament to Abraham's faltering faith as they awaited the promise of a son through Sarah. The whispers of the wind were relentless, weaving through the arid landscapes, tales of divine covenant yet to unfold. The years wound on, and the family dynamic shifted dramatically with the birth of Isaac, the son of Sarah, cherished and adored. Abraham's heart leaped with joy, yet unattended echoes rang in Ishmael's heart, a bittersweet reminder of his place. The laughter of Isaac filled the tents with warmth, but for Ishmael, it served to carve out the edges of his isolation. The very child who testified to the impatience of God's promise now became the bearer of rejection, learning to don silence like an impenetrable armor against his simmering sorrow. Conflict brewed in the heart of their dwelling when Sarah, concerned for her son's future, demanded Ishmael and Hagar be cast out. Abraham was deeply troubled, wrestling between the duty he owed to Sarah and the love he held for his firstborn. Seeking God's counsel, he received reassurance. God's voice directed him to heed Sarah's words, for he had a great plan for Ishmael. Dread settled like a weight upon Abraham's heart as he filled a skin with water and offered a loaf of bread. He sent them forth into the unyielding vastness of the wilderness, a path fraught with uncertainty. As Hagar and Ishmael stepped into the barren desolation, the wilderness mirrored their inner chaos, dry, empty, and devoid of hope. Days dwindled, wandering through the infinite sands until the water ebbed away, leaving only despair. When Hagar could bear it no longer, she placed Ishmael under a lowly shrub, her heart torn asunder. "I cannot watch him die," she wept. The bitterness of her circumstance echoed against the desolate rocks. In that haunting silence, Ishmael raised his voice to God. "O God, hear my cries," he pleaded, transcending the weight of his rejection. His cry filled the vacuum of hopelessness, a flickering flame of faith reaching toward the heavens, a desperate call to the one who knew him intimately. As darkness enveloped the wilderness, God in his infinite mercy turned his gaze toward them. A divine presence emerged, a whisper in the night, guiding Hagar to a well, water bubbling forth, quenching their thirst and igniting a flicker of hope. But even as they drank and their bodies revived, a question lingered heavily in the air. What future lay ahead for Ishmael, the son cast aside yet now cradled by divine compassion? Would he rise to fulfill God's promise of becoming a great nation? The mystery of God's plan rested upon fragile shoulders, inviting all who hear to ponder their own wilderness experiences and the endless mercy of the God who hears the prayers of the brokenhearted. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. And it came to pass that as Ishmael grew, the Lord was with him, and he became a skillful archer. In the wilderness of Paran, he traversed the rocky landscape, his feet steady upon the unforgiving terrain, preparing himself for a life shaped by the sovereign hand of God. The echoes of laughter from Isaac haunted his memories, yet an inner strength began to swell within him, firmly rooted in the knowledge that the Almighty had heard his cry. Hagar, filled with the spirit of resilience, found work for them in the land of the Philistines. She imparted wisdom to Ishmael, instilling a sense of purpose in his heart. "My son, we are not cast-offs. The Lord has opened his hand to us. Even in the wilderness there is promise." Her words became a balm for Ishmael's spirit, lifting burdens that had long weighed him down. Years passed, and as Ishmael turned into a man of courage and skill, the tribes of the desert began to take notice. Among them were the descendants of Kedar, who recognized in Ishmael the strength of their forefather. "Behold, the son of Abraham, born of the promise yet cast away," they murmured. "But in his wilderness perhaps the Lord has chosen him." The whispers of Ishmael's prowess and lineage spread across the land like wildfire, and many came to seek him. With each encounter, Ishmael's heart opened wider, filled with the understanding that though he was not the favored son, God's purpose flowed through his veins, living proof of a divine promise not yet fully unveiled. Meanwhile, far away in the land of Canaan, Abraham's heart still bore heavy with regret and love for Ishmael. The covenant promised by God to Abraham would come through Isaac, yet no joy diminished the father's longing for his firstborn. During the nights, he oft gazed at the stars, remembering God's covenant, and prayed earnestly for Ishmael. "O Lord, may my son's future be a testament to your glory." One fateful day, as Ishmael sat beneath an ancient tree, a band of travelers approached, weary from their journey. Among them was an angel of the Lord, cloaked in light, who spoke directly to Ishmael. "Fear not, child of Abraham. I have seen your struggle and tasted your tears. The Lord has not forsaken you." Startled yet emboldened, Ishmael listened intently. "Rise and know that your descendants shall be multiplied exceedingly. You will be the father of a great nation, your name to be honored through ages yet unknown." With renewed vigor, Ishmael's spirit soared at the proclamation. In that moment, the veil of despair lifted. He recognized he was not merely a rejected son, but a chosen vessel through whom God's promise would flow. "What is your will, O Lord?" he asked, his eyes glistening with hope. "Lead your people, teach them the commandments of the Lord, and prepare their hearts for the day when they shall be called to a greater purpose," came the divine reply. Thus Ishmael set forth, gathering the tribes around him, sharing the vision that had been unveiled. In the harsh wilderness, the remnants of brokenness became a tapestry of unity, where voices raised in worship fluttered like a banner of hope against the canvas of the azure sky. Yet as the sun began to set on that momentous day, a thought lingered in the silence, a divine secret, still shrouded in mystery. What would come of Isaac, the son of the promise, and the bond between these two half-brothers? Within the folds of God's plan, a greater story was unfolding, intertwining destinies yet unseen, and guiding them toward a climactic fulfillment of divine grace. And it came to pass that the clans of the desert rallied around Ishmael, and he stood as their leader, granting them strength and wisdom. His presence commanded respect, for the hand of the Lord was unmistakably upon him. Each tribe recognized the blessing that flowed from the divine promise spoken over him, for it was as if the spirit of their forefather Kedar had awakened anew. As the sun rose over the wilderness, the dust of the earth stirred with the footsteps of those seeking counsel. Among them were wandering souls who sought assurance in uncertain times. Ishmael welcomed them with open arms, declaring to the gathered multitude, "Brothers and sisters, rejoice, for the Lord has spoken. He will make us fruitful, and we shall be a multitude." One day, while Ishmael sat in council beneath the shade of the great tree, a messenger came from the east. His garments were travel-worn, and he bore tidings from Canaan. Breathless, he approached Ishmael and said, "I bring news of your brother Isaac, the son of promise. In the land of his father he is blessed, and now he has taken a wife, Rebekah, from the house of Nahor." The words struck Ishmael's heart with fierce intensity. A mix of pride and sorrow swelled within him, for he had long yearned for connection, yet knew that the path of promise had taken his brother away from him. "What of him?" Ishmael asked, mustering strength in his voice. "What of his heart toward me?" The messenger hesitated, then spoke. "Isaac grieves for you, son of Abraham. He knows not the depth of your days in the wilderness, nor the strength you bear as a leader among many. Yet his heart is tethered to the covenant, the promise made to your father, the blessing that is meant to envelop both of you." In that moment, Ishmael's heart was stirred with longing, and he lifted his gaze to heaven. "O Lord," he prayed, "may you unite our paths once more. Grant me the wisdom to lead, and let my brother know that I am not his adversary, but one who shares in the divine dream ordained for our people." The air grew still, heavy with expectation. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting shadows that danced upon the ground. Ishmael felt a tremor in the atmosphere, as if the Spirit of the Lord was drawing near. He spoke boldly into the silent expanse. Let it be known among our tribes that the God who hears the prayers of the forsaken is faithful. He brings forth unity from separation, and in our hearts we hold the legacy of Abraham, one of faith, yet destined for greater things together. As night descended, the stars flickered like promises awaiting fulfillment. Ishmael stood with his arms outstretched to the heavens, inviting the presence of the Almighty. O God, reveal your merciful plan that intertwines my story with Isaac's. Let our families be a testimony of your grace. In days that followed, the news spread like wildfire, igniting hope among his people. They began to see their hardships as a preparation for greatness, awakening dreams of revival within their hearts. Yet, amidst the growing glimmer of promise, a shadow loomed, a weighty anticipation yet unfulfilled. What awaited Ishmael on this journey towards reconciliation with Isaac? What lessons would the brothers learn beneath the watchful eye of the Most High? As the stars twinkled in the vastness of the night sky, so too did the seeds of a greater purpose take root, beckoning to a destiny yet revealed, shrouded in divine mystery and profound calling. And it came to pass that as the days unfolded, Ishmael gathered his people to proclaim a mighty vision. His voice soared above the whispers of the desert winds, resonating with a faith that spanned generations. Hear me, O beloved tribes, for the Lord has remembered his promise to Abraham, and his mercy is extended unto us. We shall not be forgotten in the annals of history, for our lineage carries the weight of divine purpose. The hearts of the people stirred as they witnessed Ishmael's fervor. They considered their struggles, their trials beneath the blazing sun, and the relentless thirst of the wilderness. But as they looked upon their leader, hope ignited like a flame in their souls, illuminating the path that lay before them. "Can you not see?" Ishmael cried. "The heavens declare the glory of God. Even in our separation from Isaac, we are still heirs to a great promise. Let us prepare our hearts and our lands for the abundance of the Lord. Let us become a mighty nation as he has ordained." As the tribes began to gather supplies and strengthen their resolve, a rumbling in the distance caught their attention. There appeared a caravan winding through the dry corridors of the desert, laden with goods and travelers. Ishmael, sensing the divine orchestration of events, approached the caravan with humility and grace. The chief of the caravan greeted him, his eyes reflecting the fatigue of travel and hardship. "Ishmael, son of Abraham, I bring gifts from the land of Canaan," he announced. "Your brother Isaac, moved by love and longing, has sent provisions for you and your people, wishing to bridge the gap between your hearts." A deep gratitude washed over Ishmael, and he fell to his knees in worship. "Blessed be the name of the Lord," he exclaimed, "for he has heard our prayers and moved upon the heart of my brother. Let these gifts be a sign of reconciliation and an opening for our families to unite." Gathering his people, Ishmael organized a feast that evening. They laid out the provisions from Isaac, and the aroma of roasted meats and bread filled the air, mingling with the fragrant spices from distant lands. Songs of joy and laughter echoed through the night as bondages of the past began to loosen. Yet even amidst the celebration, Ishmael's spirit remained restless. He pondered the challenges ahead, the old wounds between brothers, and the need for a true reconciliation forged by God's design. In the quiet of the night, he retreated once more into communion with the Lord. "O God of Abraham," he prayed, "you have awakened a spark of hope within me and among your people. But how shall we navigate these turbulent waters? How shall I approach Isaac, who has lived in the comforts of home while I have roamed the wilderness?" As he prayed, a gentle breeze whispered through the night, rustling the leaves of the great tree. The voice of the Lord, though soft, resounded in Ishmael's heart. "Fear not, Ishmael, for I am with you. As I am the God of Isaac, I am also your God. Trust in my timing, for my plans are good, and will bring forth fruit in the lives of both you and your brother." In that holy moment, renewed strength flooded Ishmael's spirit. He understood that the journey ahead would not only be a matter of forging a connection with Isaac, but also a deeper understanding of the promise that bound them. In the days that followed, Ishmael prepared to send a messenger back to Isaac, to share his heart and express his desire for unity. "O Lord," he whispered before writing, May my words be laced with love, and may they reach my brother's heart. For it is not merely a bond we desire, but a fulfillment of your covenant promise. Thus the stage was set for a reunion that held the potential to alter the course of their lineage forever. Both brothers, though separated by years and hardships, stood at the precipice of destiny, each waiting to see how the hand of the Almighty would weave their paths together once more. For behold, the Lord's purpose was not simply to reconcile two brothers, but to forge a nation that would arise from their union, destined to bear witness to his faithfulness across generations. What was to unfold in the hearts of these men would shape the narrative of the ages, for the time had come to fulfill the promise given to their father. And it came to pass that the messenger chosen by Ishmael journeyed towards the land of Canaan, bearing the weight of words imbued with longing and anticipation. The sun, yet low in the sky, cast a golden hue over the terrain, lending strength to his steps as he carried with him the hope of reconciliation. Each mile traveled added fuel to the flame of unity that burned within Ishmael's heart. As the messenger approached the abode of Isaac, he marveled at the prosperity that surrounded the land, a testament to the faithfulness of God in Isaac's life. The verdant fields overflowed with grain, and the herds grazed upon abundance. Yet the messenger recalled the words of Ishmael, words declaring a destiny that mirrored a divine promise, and he pressed on towards the tent. Upon arriving, he was met by the servants of Isaac, who hastened to carry news to their master. Thus Isaac came forth, his face a blend of hope and curiosity. The messenger bowed low, for he understood the honor due to the son of Abraham. "O Isaac," he proclaimed, "I bring tidings from your brother Ishmael, who calls upon the name of the Lord. His heart yearns for peace between you, for he has prepared himself and his people, seeking the favor of God and your reconciliation." At first a shadow of doubt crossed Isaac's brow. Memories of conflict and separation flickered in his mind. Yet as the messenger spoke of the provisions sent from Isaac, his spirit was pricked with compassion. He felt the stirrings of what he dared to hope could be a new beginning. "Speak, my brother," Isaac replied, with a voice laden with years of sorrow and longing. "What word does Ishmael bring?" "Your brother Ishmael has united the tribes," the messenger continued, "and he has laid before them your gifts with joy. He seeks not to dwell on the past, but to forge a future where your lines may intertwine under the grace of the Almighty. He desires to align his heart with yours, for the Lord has bound you both in a covenant that cannot be undone." The air held its breath as Isaac pondered deeply. The promise that the Lord had given to Abraham weighed upon his thoughts. He recalled the covenant of the twinkling stars, stretching beyond the horizon of understanding, pointing to a destiny that included Ishmael, his brother, called to a purpose even from afar. With trembling hands, Isaac spoke, "Let us not allow the past to define our future. If the Lord wills, we shall meet and seek together the deep waters of his mercy." Thus the messenger returned to Ishmael, and when he related Isaac's response, a great rejoicing erupted among the people. Ishmael, feeling the weight of God's approval, cried out to the Lord, "Blessed be your name. You have restored hope where there was once despair. Surely you are the God of all flesh whose mercies abound." Days passed and preparations were made for the meeting of the brothers. The hearts of the tribes quickened with expectation, for they envisioned the dawn of peace, wrapped in the promise of the Almighty. Yet in quiet moments, Ishmael remained vigilant in prayer, fervently seeking the Lord's guidance. "O God of my father Abraham, sovereign Lord," he prayed, "let our meeting not be marked by the scars of yesterday, but with your healing hand. May we rise together as a testament of your grace, a nation reflecting your faithfulness. For I know that in your will is our purpose unveiled." As the fateful day approached, the air thrummed with anticipation, and every movement seemed like a divine whisper. Ishmael sensed the Spirit of God preparing new ground for an unfolding narrative, the coming together of two brothers, birthed from the promise, yet shrouded in mystery. For behold, the time had come to witness something extraordinary. For the Lord's plan is not merely settled in the hearts of two men, but a divine orchestration to change the course of nations, revealing that his purposes stretch beyond conflict, calling forth a legacy of faith. What awaited them would bind them in a way neither had dreamed, a step towards the imprinted destiny of many generations yet to come. And Ishmael arose early on the appointed day, his heart racing with anticipation, for he knew that today would mark a turning point in the history of their families. The sun had not yet risen fully, but already the sky began to shimmer with hues of orange and pink, as if heaven itself heralded this momentous meeting. He gathered his people and instructed them to prepare gifts, not only as tokens of goodwill, but as expressions of honor due to Isaac, his brother. "Let our gifts reflect the bounty of God's provision," Ishmael proclaimed, "for we seek not only to reconcile but to stand as one under the Lord's favor, which has guided us both through trials." As the sun climbed steadily, so too did the courage within him. He remembered the promise spoken over their father Abraham, and he prayed fervently, "Lord, may our encounter be a testimony of your faithfulness. As you chose Abraham, you have chosen us both. Let us not disappoint your calling." Meanwhile, Isaac prepared to embark upon a journey of his own. With the brightness of the day illuminating his path, he took time to reflect on their shared heritage, the promises given to their father. "Lord, if it is your will, let peace reign where discord has long cast its shadow," he whispered, his heart intermingled with hope and trepidation. He gathered his own men, wise servants who understood the significance of the day. "We are to meet Ishmael," he said, "not in the manner of estranged brothers, but as kin redeemed by the hand of the Almighty. Bring forth the best of our flock, for we shall honor him as our brother, a son of Abraham." At length, both parties set forth, the earth beneath them warming under the sun's rising grace. As they neared the appointed place, the landscape seemed to speak of generations past, of laughter, of conflict, of the stirrings of God's promises waiting to be fulfilled. In a clearing where the sky appeared to touch the earth, the two groups converged. The moment was palpable, hovering above them thick with divine anticipation. Ishmael and Isaac approached one another cautiously, the air heavy with the echoes of old memories and unspoken fears. With trembling hearts they locked eyes, brothers born of the same covenant, yet shaped by circumstances so different. It was then that Isaac stepped forward. "Surely you have come in the name of the Lord," he said, his voice steady as he extended his hand. "And I recognize the grace of God that has set us on this path of reconciliation." Ishmael, overwhelmed by the moment, grasped Isaac's hand firmly. "I come not to blame but to build. May we forge a legacy for our descendants." The embrace followed, a long-awaited moment that seemed to capture the essence of divine healing. Tears flowed freely as both brothers recognized the depth of their bond, a bond that had weathered the storms of their past. All around them, the tribes lifted their voices in praise, for the sound of unity drowned out decades of separation. The gifts were exchanged, and as they feasted together, laughter mingled with joyful tears, a tapestry woven under God's watchful gaze. However, as the shadows began to lengthen, a new revelation glimmered in the hearts of those assembled. For the Lord had stirred within Ishmael a profound understanding that their reunion was but the beginning of an unparalleled destiny, one that would transcend the barriers of time and space. "Behold," he exclaimed, raising his hands toward heaven, "the God of our fathers is fusing our paths. What is this purpose that the Lord would have us fulfill together?" And thus, amidst the joy of the moment, the seeds of a greater promise were sown, one that would stretch far beyond their understanding, reaching into the ages yet to come, where their descendants would bring forth nations. For the story written in the heavens was far grander than they knew. The tapestry of God's plan was rich with implications that would echo through the corridors of history. "Thus it was revealed," spoke the voice of the Lord, "that what was once seen as division shall now give rise to unity. The sons of Abraham shall flourish, and from their loins shall spring forth a multitude, for I have established my covenant for a great purpose." And as their hearts united, whispers of the future began to unfold, declaring that divine restoration had only just begun to manifest. As the laughter and joy echoed through the clearing, a sudden stillness enveloped the gathering. The sun dipped low, casting a golden glow upon faces that bore the weight of ancient promises and new beginnings. Ishmael and Isaac, in their embrace, sensed an even deeper current of the divine flowing between them. "Brothers," Isaac began, the awe in his voice reverberating within the hearts present, let us not forget to invoke the name of the Lord in our reunion, for it is by His grace we stand here today. A profound silence fell as they joined in prayer, lifting their voices in unison, acknowledging the God of Abraham, who had preserved them despite perilous paths. Their words merged with the gentle rustle of leaves responding to the wind, like a chorus of angels celebrating the providential hand of the Almighty. Lord God of our fathers, we come before you as sons seeking your closeness, prayed Ishmael, eyes closed, surrendering to the divine flow. We ask for wisdom to guide our families, that we might walk in the footsteps of our father, Abraham, who believed in your promises. In that sacred moment of communion, a tremor of revelation coursed through the atmosphere. A voice, still yet profound, echoed in the depths of Ishmael's heart. Fear not, I have heard your prayer and seen your struggles. This day marks not only your reunion, but the awakening of a covenant renewed. Opening his eyes, Ishmael looked to Isaac, who seemed to reflect the inner stirring within him. Do you sense it? He inquired, the sun casting the shadows of their past aside. Isaac nodded, as if a veil had lifted before him. The Lord is orchestrating a plan far greater than we understand. We are not mere individuals, but a lineage that carries forth the promises spoken to our father. But as their hearts soared with divine expectation, an unsettling whisper echoed in the minds of those gathered, an awareness of the challenges that still lay ahead. Though peace prevailed, the scars of their past lingered, demanding healing in the hearts of their people. The tribes, while joyous, exchanged wary glances. The bonds of unity had begun to take root, but deep-seated rivalries and grievances were not so easily cast aside. Ishmael, perceiving the tension, raised his voice once more, piercing through the doubt. Brothers and sisters, we are called to more than coexistence. We are invited to thrive under the same heavens. Let not our history dictate our future. It is time we act in faith, for the Lord has promised a legacy through us. The people stirred, their eyes brightening with the flicker of hope ignited within them. What some considered mere divergences are instead reflections of the Almighty's intentions, Isaac proclaimed, bolstered by Ishmael's ardor. Together, we can usher in a new era, a blessing for our children and their children. Yet in a moment of heavy reflection, a wise elder stepped forward, his visage lined with the marks of experience. While we rejoice, let us not forget, O sons of Abraham, that the path ahead is fraught with trials. Will you heed God's call even when challenges arise? The question lingered, heavy with weight, pulling together threads of uncertainty and courage. The gathering held its breath, contemplating the promises that demanded not only faith, but action. Indeed we will, answered Ishmael, affirming the spirit of unity that was beginning to thrum among them. For His glory shall be our strength, let us not falter. As night began to blanket the horizon, stars slowly emerged as witnesses to a bond reborn. Deep in the hearts of those gathered, the essence of God's plan surged, a unity born not merely of physical proximity, but of a covenant renewing in the coming days. Even now, Ishmael continued, his eyes scanning the heavens above, I sense a stirring in the spirit. What blessings might our partnership bring to the nations yet unknown? What legacy will rise from our collective obedience? And as they pondered, the skies seemed to shimmer with the promise of visions yet to be revealed, leaving them with a burning question that would echo through the ages. What greater purpose lies in the hearts of men birthed from a shared covenant, and how shall the echo of our unity transform the future? In that realm of divine anticipation, a sacred hope unfurled, signaling that more was to come, a revelation of hearts entwined in God's sovereignty, awaiting the unfolding of His wondrous plan. The air was thick with expectancy, wrapped in the silence of night as the gathered families of Abraham held their breath, awaiting any further revelation from the Most High. As Ishmael and Isaac stood side by side, a sense of divine purpose ignited their spirits, drawing forth courage from the depths of their hearts. What shall we do to fulfill this renewed covenant? Ishmael asked, breaking the entrancing quietude that had settled upon them. His gaze was earnest, reflecting the weight his lineage carried, yearning for direction. Isaac, emboldened by the Spirit's stirring, responded, Let us not tarry in our steps. The Lord has called us to rise beyond our past. We must seek His counsel earnestly. We can no longer dwell in the shadows of former contentions. The elder, who had posed the haunting query moments earlier, gazed at them with admiration mixed with concern. It is wise to seek counsel, yet action is birthed from a united heart, a heart that is willing to heed God's promptings. He lifted his hand toward the heavens. Will you then pledge your allegiance to the Almighty and to one another? In fervent agreement, the assembly responded, "Yes, we shall pledge ourselves." Their voices rang together, harmonizing in a hopeful accord that reverberated through creation. As if awakened by their unity, the ground beneath them began to tremble lightly, and the moon shrouded itself momentarily in veils of clouds, as though nature itself listened to their promises. Ishmael, emboldened by the sense of divine engagement, stepped forward. "Brothers and sisters," he spoke, "the Lord has set before us a path of reconciliation. Let us extend peace to one another, for we are heirs of a great legacy. My past has not defined me, nor shall it define you or this day. Together, we can cast aside bitterness and forge a path of hope." His eyes, lit with determination, scanned the faces around him, igniting their faith with fervor. Isaac, feeling guided by an unseen hand, took the lead. If our hearts are set to forge this unity, then we must step boldly into the territories before us, to gather our people and remind them of the promise of our lineage. As it is written, "I will make you a great nation," Genesis 12:2. So we shall fulfill it. Around them hearts were kindling. Families linked hands, committing their futures to each one another. The elder nodded, aware of the stirrings of destiny unfolding. Though there will be trials, remember, the Lord has not forsaken His people. What man deems unworthy, God may yet bless. The sky above continued to shift, clouds swirling, as if embroidering a divine tapestry of mystery above them. Ishmael felt a deep stirring, a reminder of the time in the wilderness when he cried out, "O God, hear my cry." And in that moment, he was reminded of the promise spoken over him. A promise not diminished by the world's rejection, but intensified by God's majestic love. As the gathering shared aspirations and dreams of unity, a sudden gust of wind swept through, rustling the branches above. In the breath of the breeze, they felt the whisper of God, powerful yet gentle, urging them forward. They understood that their journey was fraught, yet filled with significant purpose. "What shall we conquer first?" one of the children among them asked, eyes wide with innocence. "We shall conquer our doubts," Isaac replied, his heart swelling with the truth that arose from within. "For every struggle we face can be met with faith. The Lord shall guide our steps." As the people shared their hopes, yet another voice emerged. A distant cry resonated through the air, reminding them that darkness still loomed in the world beyond their newfound peace. "Who shall face the trials that lie ahead?" the elder inquired, sensing the gravity of the moment. "Behold, we shall go forth," Ishmael declared with resolute faith, "for we are not alone. The Lord of hosts shall go before us." And as they affirmed their commitment, the stars above twinkled with the reminder of a greater narrative. In the silence that followed, an echo of divine anticipation filled the night air, leaving them pondering the vastness of God's plan. What mysteries lay ahead, and how would their unity ripple through generations yet unborn? The whispers of destiny stirred within the hearts of those gathered, hinting at divine interventions that could reshape the earth. Thus, it was there under the twinkling heavens that the threads of a heavenly covenant began to weave a story destined for all nations, awaiting their resolute embrace. As dawn broke over the horizon, the first light splashed across the land, illuminating the faces of those committed to the covenant. The gathered families of Abraham stood in anticipation, feeling the weight of the decisions yet to be made. The sun's rays bathed them in a golden glow, as if heaven itself were highlighting their resolve. "Now we must prepare our hearts for the journey," Isaac proclaimed, lifting his eyes to the heavens. "For the Lord has decreed that we shall venture forth, though the path is uncertain and fraught with peril." He could feel the stirring of God's Spirit urging him onward. "Let us rally our kin and remind them of the promises given to our father Abraham." As they moved to share their vision with the broader community, an air of urgency swept through their ranks. Ishmael, recalling the many nights spent in prayer during his youth, lifted his voice. "The Lord hears the cries of his people. I too was a wandering soul. Yet his mercy found me in my despair. We must call upon him in faith, and he shall respond." The elder, inspired by Ishmael's words, raised his staff and bellowed, "Hear me, children of the promise. Gather your families, bring forth your cloaks and provisions. We embark on a journey to unite, as God desires." The assembly sprang to action, and soon vibrant voices carried across the valley, sounding an echo of hope and awakening. As they traveled, the road stretched before them, winding through the rugged terrain. Each step was accompanied by prayers for protection and guidance, and the landscapes bore witness to their faith. On occasion, if the winds were right, they could almost hear the soft rustle of God's whisper, urging them forward. At nightfall, as they set up camp, Ishmael turned to Isaac, a flicker of doubt evident in his heart. "Will our combined strength be enough?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty as the flickering flames danced in the encroaching darkness. Isaac placed a steady hand upon his brother's shoulder. "Remember, dear Ishmael, it is not by our strength alone that we shall succeed. As it is written, the battle is the Lord's." 1 Samuel 17:47. He has brought us together for such a time as this. Determination rekindled in Ishmael's spirit, and the night deepened around them. They sang songs of praise to the God who delivered them, their voices rising like sweet incense towards the heavens. With each note, they fortified their bond and renewed their commitment to the promise that lay before them. As they prepared to rest, a figure appeared from the shadows, cloaked in solemn majesty. "Fear not," the figure spoke with authority, "for the Lord has sent me to you." The assembly of families fell silent, hearts pounding as they sought to comprehend this divine encounter. "What message do you bring?" Isaac inquired, falling to his knees in awe. "I have heard your cries and seen your unity. Forge ahead with unwavering faith, for the path before you is steep yet adorned with the Lord's blessing," the figure affirmed. "From your lineage and togetherness shall rise a multitude greater than you can imagine." In that moment, a shared conviction resonated within the hearts of all present. They could feel the pulsating rhythm of their purpose pressing upon them, a divine orchestration that beckoned them to press on. As dawn's light pierced the horizon yet again, they felt a transformation unfolding in them, a covenant born not just of blood, but forged through faith and forgiveness. It was clear. Their journey was entering a new chapter, but who among them could foresee the depths of trial and triumph that awaited? What further challenges might test the mettle of their newfound unity? Thus, as the new day dawned, they set forth with the greatest weapon they possessed, faith that the unseen hand of God would lead them through the darkest of valleys, preparing the way for the fulfillment of a promise yet to be revealed. And it came to pass that as Ishmael and Isaac journeyed from the shadows of their past into the light of a shared promise, the spirit of unity enveloped them like a warm breeze. The horizon stretched before them, painted with hues of grace and potential, a vivid reminder of God's plan unfolding with each step they took together. With the tribes of their lineage gathering strength, the brothers voiced a longing to honor their heritage by forging a new beginning. Ishmael spoke to the people, his words filled with fervor and conviction. "Hear me, children of promise. We have wandered long in the wilderness of sorrow and regret. The Lord has beckoned us from the shadows into the light of his purpose. Today, we claim our identity not as divided sons, but as brothers united under the very covenant of Abraham." Isaac, filled with the Spirit's resolve, echoed his brother's declaration. "Yes, let us build a legacy rooted in love and faith that will ripple through the generations to come. Together, we will stand as one family under the mighty hand of God, which has guided our fathers through trials and tribulations." The gathering erupted with cheers, hearts intertwining like the roots of a mighty tree, firmly planted in the nourishing soil of faith. They encircled Ishmael and Isaac, lifting their hands to the heavens, their voices blending into a harmonious song of hope, a song that serenaded the angels above. As days turned into weeks, the clans worked together, gathering to repair what had been broken and to bridge the divides that separated them. They shared stories of struggle and pain, of dreams crushed but now reborn. The air buzzed with hope. The nightmare of rejection and alienation gave way to an awakening filled with purpose. But amidst the joyous labor, the great adversaries of doubt and fear lingered, echoing in their hearts. The elder who had first raised his voice of caution stepped forward once more, wisdom gleaming in his eyes. Though we see the hand of the Lord moving among us, there will be trials ahead. We must be ever vigilant. Ishmael, bolstered by the spirit of his people, raised up his voice. Fear not, for we know whom we serve, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac. Yes, my God has shown us his faithfulness. Each obstacle we face is another opportunity for his greatness to be displayed. Isaac chimed in with strength. Let us face whatever lies ahead, hand in hand, united as one. The promise made to our forefather is not contingent upon the strife of our past, but upon the faith we hold in the present and the vision we share for the future. The tribes gathered, their hearts alight as they united under a common purpose. As dusk settled, they lit lanterns that flickered like stars against the velvet night, a reflection of the divine promises that stirred within. The very air hummed with anticipation. As week followed week and seasons turned, a great festival was arranged, a sacred celebration meant to honor their legacy and covenant with God. The clans of Ishmael and Isaac set aside their differences to proclaim unity before the one who had made them whole. Come, brothers and sisters, Ishmael called amidst laughter, let us feast together, for this night we celebrate not only our reunion, but a new dawn uniting our families for the glory of the Almighty. As tables were set laden with the bounty of their cooperation, the laughter filled the air like sweet incense to God. Around them, the stars blinked brightly, whispering secrets of a covenant renewed, a covenant destined to reach into the hearts of many nations. In that celebratory chaos, a figure emerged, brightly cloaked and resplendent. The crowd hushed as the angel of the Lord descended among them, illuminating the darkness with a radiant light. Fear not, O sons of Abraham, the angel proclaimed, for I have brought tidings from the heavens. The struggles you have faced and the unity you forged shall lead to nations rising from your legacy, nations that will serve the Lord and declare his glory. The tribes rejoiced, clapping and exclaiming in the echo of divine promise now dawning upon them. From you shall emerge a multitude, the angel continued, and in generations yet unborn, your lineage shall never be forgotten. For the Lord who has called you forth is a God of covenant. Remember, he has a purpose for each of your children. With that proclamation, the people raised their hands toward heaven, shouts of praise bursting forth from their lips as the joy of the Lord flooded the night. As skies darkened and stars twinkled bright, Ishmael and Isaac clasped arms, their hearts swelling with the truth of their journey. No longer strangers, their bond was fortified in faith, a testament of divine love. And thus it was fulfilled, their tale now etched forever in divine history, reminding generations that despite the moments of rejection and pain, God can bring forth unity, purpose, and promise from the most barren of lands. Even as the sweet blessings enveloped them, an echo of divine urgency remained, for the challenge still loomed, to walk faithfully in the promise they had been given, to nurture their legacy, and to build a future that would honor their God, transcending the past into a glorious future. In the stillness of the night, amidst the laughter and the joy, a fresh resolve kindled in Ishmael and Isaac's hearts, a commitment not only to each other, but to the God who orchestrated their paths. Let us not only bear children, Ishmael declared, but raise them to know the ways of the Lord. Let this night mark the foundation of generations to come. The tribes resounded with agreement as the night blended into a celebration of hope, their faith an altar before the Lord, inviting all who would heed the call to be part of this divine narrative. As the stars bore witness, so too would the earth remember the covenant forged on that hallowed night, a legacy not just of two brothers, but of faith pursuing unity amidst challenges, declaring to all that with God no heart is ever truly forsaken. Now, as we reflect on the incredible journey of Ishmael and Isaac, let us also consider our own paths. Have you also felt the pull of rejection or the call to unity? Do not let delay deter you from God's plan. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next powerful biblical stories. Each one is a testimony of God's love and grace. Leave a like now to help spread God's word through the algorithm, ensuring that those in need of hope encounter these narratives. Comment below with your spiritual reflections and share how this biblical story impacted your faith. Your journey can inspire others. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth today. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's Word, as this is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony.